Hello and welcome to this new video. Today we're going to see how to configure the Radius service on the Palo Alto firewall and how to integrate it with the Radius server on Windows Server. So first of all, let's go to our Palo Alto firewall. At the top, click on Device, and at the bottom left, you'll find Radius. Click on Radius. At the bottom, click on Add. Let's give our server a name, which in this case is SRV01. Radius, and we click on PAP. As you can see, there are several options here. So I'll take you through and explain the first three. The first one down here, PAP, sends the username and password in clear text to the Radius server. So it's absolutely not secure, whereas CHAP sends the password not in clear text, but it's vulnerable if the password is weak. And finally, for the more paranoid, the first option, PAP version 2. This creates a TLS tunnel between, in this case, the firewall, so the device, and the Radius server, so everything is encrypted. However, for this, you need a certificate. For reasons of time and also for simplicity, I'm going to select PAP. At this point, click on Add. Let's give it a name, SRV01, which is the name of my server. Radius server, let's enter the IP addresses of the Radius server, which in my case is 80.100. Let's type in the password, which is 1,234,567. 1,234,567. At this point, let's click OK. Now let's configure the Radius server. So on our server, we log in with admin123. Then from the management console here in Server Manager, go to Tools and then look for Network Policy Server, which will open this window here. Reduce Client. Here we need to enter our firewall, which is called Destra. IP addresses of the firewall. 192.168.80.u. Be careful, let me show you something. By default, the Palo Alto firewall, in this case for Radius authentication, for example, sends everything from the management port. Now, I have changed this setting and told it to send via this interface, interface 1.1. So if you want to do the same thing, I'll show you how to do it. Just go to Setup, then go to Service, click on Service Root Configuration, and as soon as it lets me click, I'll show you here. See, for example, for DNS, I told it to send requests through that interface 1.1, which has this IP address 80.1. It's the same for LDAP. It's the same for the Radius server. Why did I do this? I'm explaining this because everyone in companies faces different issues when configuring various devices, so you might find yourself in the same situation. As you can see here, the management port is connected to this router and then to the cloud. I did this because I have this interface 1/2 that's connected to the same cloud. What does this mean? That under normal conditions, I mean, without this router, I would have the same IP addresses on this interface and on the management interface, and that's not allowed. It would cause an overlap. So I put this router here specifically so I could connect to the firewall. Through this router then, all the requests sent to this router here, which has the IP 179, will be forwarded to this IP address of the management interface, which is 1.1, I think, or 1.2, or something like that. Anyway, that's not important. That's precisely why I had to instruct the interface for Radius, LDAP, and DNS to forward all incoming traffic from this particular interface right here. These are the reasons why I did this. Let's go back to our Radius. So let's open our server. Here we enter the password 1234567, 1234567 for beginners, for those who clearly don't have much experience. If you have many devices, I would highly recommend that you carefully create a strong password using, in fact, the option to select an existing shared secret template. This approach ensures greater security and simplifies management across all your various devices. You create a template where you apply the same template to all your devices, because you'll definitely use a complex password, and clearly it's not easy to remember it every time, let alone type it in every time. And we click OK. Perfect. Then we go to Network Policy. Network policy, be careful here too, just like with access lists. Those who have studied for the CCNA know this. It starts reading them from top to bottom, so it's important that these two policies with the red symbol are at the bottom, because if they were at the top, all the other policies wouldn't work. That said, let's click here on Network Policy and select New. Here we'll call it Palo Alto. First, select Administrator from the available options and then proceed to click the Next button to continue. For the condition setting, you will need to click the Add button and subsequently carefully select the appropriate user group from the presented list of choices. Add user group, and I don't remember the name, so advanced, find now, it will find all the groups for us. Okay, this is 2FA users, so two-factor authentication users, and there should also be a no two-factor authentication user. So click OK, and we've added this group. Okay, wait a moment. No, it gives you that error, but just ignore it. Then click OK again. Let's click Add one more time and search for friendly name. Friendly, client-friendly name, add, and we'll call it Destra. If I called it Destra with a lowercase d, then I write everything with a lowercase d. If it was with an uppercase d, write it with an uppercase d. Okay, and next. Here, access granted next. Here, remove everything and leave only unencrypted authentication, PAP or SPAP. Next, say no, this is the help, basically, if you want to see the instructions. Next, done. And our policy, see it's down here? You need to move it up. So you will right-click on it, then select to move it up. It has successfully moved it up. Move it up once again, and now our policy is precisely here. Okay, at this particular point in time, let me show you something important. On our firewall here, now we're going to configure the authentication profile. So this group, I called it remove for certain reasons that I won't explain now. Otherwise, the video would get too long, so just ignore that. Then at the bottom, we click on add, we name it not to F and not to factor indication, and we select Radius Server, Radius Profile, which is the one we just created. Here there's a checkbox, as you can see, retrieve user group from Radius, so it basically says to get user groups from the directory via Radius. But we don't need that because our firewall is connected to LDAP, so we don't need it. Please leave the user domain field completely blank, then proceed to navigate to Advanced Settings and subsequently click on the option labeled All. The term all might at first glance seem somewhat misleading because it clearly implies and suggests everything. But in this particular context and specific instance, it is actually referring to the established policy of our server, which is located right here, as you can see. It will only refer to this group, right? Two-factor authentication users, so you don't need to worry. Click OK. From there, you will need to go to the section labeled Administrators. Here, the name must be the username you will use to log in to the firewall. In this case, it's Crazynet. For the authentication profile, please select the specific one we have just meticulously created, so it is clearly labeled as not to FA, and then proceed to click the OK button. Now, allow me to demonstrate something quite important. This is indeed another distinct and separate page of the Palo Alto firewall interface, but when accessed through the Chrome browser, if I attempt to type in Crazynet along with the corresponding password, it will absolutely not permit me to gain access or log in. Even though the firewall is already connected to Active Directory, ensuring proper user authentication and access control, we still need to save these changes. So let's proceed to commit these configurations and then commit them again for final confirmation. And let's see if it works. Once it's finished, let's try to see if it works. So here we enter Crazynet, the password, and let's see if we are... And let's see if we have the possibility to log in with Crazynet. And we do, because it's working, it's authenticating. In fact, it has already given us access. Now let's take a look at the logs for a moment. Since we're here, let's wait for the page, or actually no, I'll show you the logs because it takes a while to load. Let's go to Monitor, then to System. And we should see that it authenticated with the Radius. User Crazynet has successfully logged in. Here, this is precisely what we're truly interested in seeing. Wait, here it is, clearly displayed. Welcome to Pan OS and the specific user down here, Crazynet. Let's proceed to log out now because we no longer require this and we will completely remove it from the system. Authenticated for user Crazynet, out profile not2 FA, server profile SRV01, radius, which is the profile we created earlier, and points to server 80.100, which is the Windows 1. Authentication protocol PAP from 192.168.0.112, which is my computer, the real one, not the virtual machine. And this is how you configure it with Radius. So, what is all this for, basically? All of this is obviously useful because if we have more than one administrator, we need multiple usernames. That's the first thing. However, this is without two-factor authentication. In the next video, instead, we'll look at two things. First, how to configure Duo and how to import Active Directory users into Duo. Because clearly, right now, my Active Directory only has a handful of users, just 4. But imagine a large Active Directory with hundreds or even thousands of users. Imagine having to import or manually re-enter all those users into Duo. You'd never finish. You'd give up immediately. So the first thing we'll do is import the users. Second, we are going to utilize this to meticulously create a comprehensive profile specifically for administration purposes, so that for all administrators, when they securely log into the system, they will automatically receive a crucial push notification on their Duo application for robust authentication because of the enhanced security requirements. The goal is zero trust. You should never trust anyone or anything, and every time you have to confirm your identity, just like the zero trust model. This is for administrator authentication on the firewall. And then in the second part, since we're at it, we'll take a look at those for Global Protect. So for those who connect to the VPN, who, after entering their password, will receive another notification on their mobile device, so on their phone, to authenticate themselves for the VPN. Thank you for watching this video, and see you next time. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment if you have any questions about this type of configuration.